Hi there and welcome to this video. I'm here today with Christopher Carvalho.
Hi there.
And he's going to talk about building a release strategy for your music.
That's right. Let's
press.
press.
Let's press on.
Let's press.
So the first point is don't change your product to fit the strategy. Have your strategy fit your product. So what do you mean by that, Christopher?
So, for example, let's say that you've got an album, right? And it's an album, like you made it an album because it just works artistically that way. The point is, like, a lot of people think that, oh, maybe I should just release, because a lot of people say, like, oh, it's a singles world, right? It's only for singles or because of playlists or whatever, but...
Because of Spotify.
Because of Spotify and stuff, but that's more of a prevailing sentiment than an actual reality. Like, if you've got an album, release an album and create a strategy for the album, maybe you have a longer campaign for the album, you build up more hype and you release some videos, you release some content as kind of like top of funnel awareness of the album. But a lot of people, because they get kind of obsessed with like one thing in the massive industry, they get obsessed with like, oh, if I break my 10-song album down into 10 tracks, then I can submit 10 songs to Spotify editorial. And it's like, well, but that's kind of like betting your personal finances on winning the lottery. It's like, yeah, if I buy 10 times as many lottery tickets, I'm not even sure if this is mathematically correct, but like, then I have more chance of winning the lottery. It's like, yeah, but it's not going to happen. And also, like, you're betting on that. So the point is, like, if you have an album, release an album and build a strategy around the album. Don't break the product to fit the strategy, the only strategy that you know of, you know. There's a strategy for everything.
Yeah, and certain tracks are going to fit the mood of the album. You're not going to have like track 7 or track 8 as maybe like an instrumental interlude as a single. It's not going to fit the mood, but in the album, it may fit perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, by all means, if you are just making singles and just artistically they are singles, release singles, great. But if you're making an album, you want to tell a story, you know, or you've got an album and they fit together in some way, then release that, you know, and don't just break up the art to, you know, because of playlists or whatever. I mean, to be honest, that kind of theory is, for me, I'm like, well, at the end of the day, it's actually tracks that go onto playlists, not singles. Singles and albums are packaging. You know, a single is actually just packaging over one track. An album is just packaging over multiple tracks, right?
I think a lot of it depends on what you've written the music for.
Yeah.
So if you've written an album, release it as an album. Don't just try and milk as many singles as possible when it might not be suitable.
And also, like, you just commoditize yourself immediately by doing that. It's like, well, everyone's doing that. There are plenty of tracks in the market, but there are not many albums. You know, when I'm sending out emails to, like, blogs and whatever, you know, it's like, they're all getting hundreds of emails a day and it's like single, 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 single. You know, do you want to be one of those, or do you want to be the guy who's like, oh, this album is about this and it tells this story and this is why that I made it, you know? So yeah, the principle is create a strategy around the art. Don't change the art or break it up just because you only know of this one strategy and you think that's the only thing that works.
Do you think it's important to build a story around your launch and your product as well?
100%. Story has always been...
So don't just release the music and go, here you go, build more of a... why you wrote the music, how you wrote the music,
exactly.
What concepts there are.
Release the story, right? So, like, storytelling has always been the most, you know, captivating thing.
Maybe
like,
not the best example, but X Factor always do this. There's always a sob story.
Yeah,
it really annoys me because it works.
That's actually a really good example.
There's always a sob story around, oh, this happened in my life and I found freedom and liberation through music and singing. And there's always a big, like, build up, and then when they sing, the audience, do they tell the story to the audience beforehand, and the audience hear their story, and it gives so much more power. Like that Paul Potts guy who's a phone salesman in Britain's Got Talent in the UK, and he was an amazing opera singer, but without that story it might not have been as powerful. And Susan Boyle, and yeah, you might not want to be like these people, but the power of the story really made a huge difference on the impact of the music. Oh,
absolutely. And it also, like, influences people's perception of the music before they've heard it. I mean, the X Factor example is a really, really good one.
But they know what they're, as cheesy as it is, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, there's science behind there.
Yeah, absolutely. So storytelling is absolutely number one. It should be part of your overall strategy. Like, what story are you actually telling? You know, think of it this way, like, if you're emailing a blog or something, I mean, they get, like I said, hundreds of emails. your subject line has to be the most captivating for them to read it, you know, and then that influences how they
What do you
perceive
think the
music.
best way of showcasing your story or telling people about your story is to get your music heard? Like YouTube videos, email,
Yeah, I mean,
social media?
building, it's a good question, building a content ecosystem around it. So obviously video works. I mean, but it also kind of depends on, you know, it depends on what you're good at. You know, I was talking to one of my artists just the other day, and he's doing like Medium articles about how he built the album, the concept album that he released. He's also making these really rich kind of music videos that also tell the story and get compiled into a playlist. So he's building like an entire content ecosystem around it, where people can consume the story in many different multimedia means, through text, through video, and all sorts of
I think
different
there's going
things.
to be a documentary kind of behind the scenes, like remember Metallica, Some Kind of Monster?
That film,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
That made, I watched that film, and after that, I listened to the album.
Oh yeah, and it also just increased like the fan equity.
For Saint Anger.
It was Saint Anger that they made at the
And they got
time,
the new
yeah.
bass player and all the drama. Yeah, it was. It made me listen to that album.
Yeah, because you got to think of, if as an artist, you have to think of yourself not just as someone who makes music and puts it out, but you have to think of yourself as a storytelling entity, you know, and then that trickles down into everything, into Instagram, into YouTube, into whatever. It doesn't matter. It's not so much the medium or like, oh, do this on Instagram or that works on LinkedIn. It's like, tell your story and then trickle it down into content.
I think it's good for personal branding as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Letting people know who you are. Like, everyone knows who Lars is.
Yeah,
Such
yeah.
a powerful character. Might not be the best drummer,
Yeah.
but what a character.
Yeah, right. And he's like, Lars is so much more than the drummer of Metallica, isn't he? He's like one of the, I mean, he's kind of like 50% of Metallica in a way, really. Him and Hetfield.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, because they
He's a
write the
songwriter,
stuff,
yeah.
and in terms of personality,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. So, yeah, your story is like is kind of the nucleus of your strategy as a whole. So yeah, that's important.
Okay. You told me earlier about building a team around your release.
Yeah, sure. So, first of all, it takes a lot of effort to release music and to build up a lot of hype. There's a lot of things to do. There's a ton of admin to do for music in terms of like distribution, in terms of setting up so that you can collect your royalties, in terms of like just generally outreach. You know, you're going to be DMing a lot of people on Instagram and Twitter and stuff, curators. You're going to be submitting a lot of emails, a lot of press releases and stuff. And it's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of energy to do all of that work. And if you have a job or if you know, have other commitments, it's going to be difficult to do that. So hiring someone to take on a lot of that load and just become a part of your team and enthusiastically be a part of the project is just going to allow more things to happen.
If you want to keep this lean and you don't want to spend too much money, what's the best way of kind of building a team? Would you cut them in sales or have some kind of agreement with them?
No,
obviously when you're starting out, you don't really want to spend too much money.
No, you want to.
It's worth
do it. Investment.
Okay.
Absolute investment. 100%. There's no version of this where you're not going to be investing time, calorie, monies. You know, time, energy, monies. Like, it's all just different units at the end of the day. Like, absolutely. I mean, you know, obviously you can make arrangements with people where, and it might make sense for you to do this, but you could make arrangements with people that they have a split on master side royalties or publishing or something like that. But it's probably better in the long term if you spend that short term money and hire someone to do the work. Like one of my clients, she has someone who's booking gigs for her tour and stuff like that. Just simple freelancing sort of thing, and general outreach, general admin work, and also just getting people on board that care about the release is just going to allow more things to happen. You know?
And that booking agent might have booked 1,000 gigs before, so they're going to know the right people. For you, just kind of cold emailing them, it's probably not going to have the same impact.
Yeah, I mean, it might not be a full-on booking agent. It could just be a person, an assistant.
Oh, okay.
You know,
more find a booking company?
No, I mean the assistant could do
agency?
booking, as well,
yeah.
but they could also do a whole bunch of other stuff that needs doing, or just frees up your time to be more creative in the process.
So you think focus on the music and the creative stuff, and then outsource the more
Yeah,
on the creative stuff.
yeah. The more
Admin
task,
stuff. Yeah.
admin stuff, sure.
And the next point you're telling me is create an exclusive club.
Cool. So this is something that I've experimented with over a few artists. One of them already has a Patreon page from before, so she already has like an exclusive little club. So if you don't know about it, Patreon is like, they call it crowdfunding 2.0, where your fans can kind of like subscribe to what you do and subscribe to what you create and support you. But if you don't have that already, she had that, which is great. And that's what we used for this concept. But if you don't have that already, one thing that I've been doing with another client, with another release, is I got him to make a Facebook group, like a private Facebook group, and he added like 50 of his like friends and family, people who might already care about this album. And what I got him to do was like make loads of content and tell lots of story inside that group before anyone else saw that content. So it's like an exclusive thing. You're in here because, I want you to have exclusive content. You're going to see everything before everyone else. Yeah. Drums up a little bit of excitement. On Facebook as well, the good thing about Facebook groups is it's like people get notifications when someone posts in there. But it also had that, like I said, exclusive feel. So he was posting videos in there, posting content, telling stories.
You get on YouTube as well. You can, what's it called? What's the YouTube?
Yeah,
the YouTube one.
Yeah,
Sure
but that's not something you do at the beginning. That's something that happens at the end.
Yeah.
In terms of the yeah.
But Patreon's very good.
Yeah, I mean, you could use Patreon and say, like, let's say you're making an album, right? Yeah. You could create a Patreon page that is like Thomas George is creating an album, and then you could reach out to like 50 to 100 of your friends, say, look, I'm making this album. I'd love to like have you in, if you're interested, love to have you on board. Even if you just give me $1 a month, that helps me build it, and you'll get exclusive content, you'll get access to everything, you'll get free merch or something like that.
You get certain tiers as well, so you can have like the vinyl release or with a t-shirt or
and
of stuff as well.
And the good thing about Patreon is, after the campaign is done, you can rebrand it as Thomas George is making music, and then that's your super fan club, on the top tier
also,
of everything else.
Patreon doesn't cost any money up front. Obviously, they take a small percentage. But
they take a percentage indeed, yeah.
But you'd have to put any money up front.
Yeah, right. And it's just helping you fund it. But also, like, it's not necessarily just about money. It's just about having a club of people who care more than anyone else does, and that becomes your super fan club.
Moving on to money, though, you could also try Kickstarter. You could try and kickstart launch an album.
Yeah.
Kind of away from Superclub. Superclub, Superfan.
Superfan, yeah. I mean, what I like about Patreon is it can morph into a more continuous thing as opposed to like one product. But anyway, like the concept is create a group of people, like friends, family, 50 people maybe, give them everything, and then when the release comes out, like they'll help you build out the traction, and then it all opens up into people who weren't previously aware of it or what have you. So you just build up a little bit of a hype team. Some people call it a hype team. Yeah. And you post stuff in there, it's like, oh, it's out now, please share with your friends and stuff like that.
Have you seen that video of that guy, the super hardcore Slayer fan?
No.
Have you not seen it?
Sounds like something I want to see though.
So basically he's extremely into Slayer, and he says, when you see another Slayer fan, you're like, Slayer. So you want, well, maybe not that guy, he's a little extreme, but the kind of people wearing the t-shirts, like, you've seen that, like people that Iron Maiden t-shirts, and there's a few bands that everyone wants to wear. Iron Maiden, AC/DC, Slayer.
Most people who wear Iron Maiden t-shirts don't have a clue who Iron Maiden are.
But they're obviously,
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. Because as well, these people are going to become promoters of you. of your brand, of
Well,
your
they're
music.
walking around with a t-shirt with your name.
Yeah, right.
Helps.
You know, like maybe you could say, look, if you give me $5 a month, you'll get free t-shirt when it comes out on the launch and all of that stuff. And then all of a sudden you've got 10 to 50 people wearing your t-shirt. And then that creates great exposure for your brand and helps develop traction for the release.
Okay, and the next point you were telling me was have a call to action.
Yeah,
So for people watching that don't know what call to action is, just explain what it is, please.
So a call to action is basically just telling people what to do. It's like, oh, here's some information. This is what you got to do next. This is the next thing that you need to do. So an example of that might be if you're on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and you put out a piece of content, and that piece of content helps you tell a story. You tell a story, and then you say, blah, 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 blah. The album is coming out on this date. You can pre-save or pre-order it. Go to the link in my bio to do that. So it's like, here's some content, now do this. You know, some people will do it, some people won't. But if you don't tell them to do it, no one will.
Yeah.
You know, so like, I heard someone in the context of marketing once say, every so often you do need to tell people what to do, otherwise they will not do it. Obviously, you can't do that all the time. You can't only do that. That's why storytelling is important and making entertaining content is important, but or valuable content. But you have to have the call to actions, like, cool, it's coming out on this date, pre-save now, or it's out now, this is why I made it, this is my story, all of blah, 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 blah. It's out now, stream now, buy now, all of that
it's
stuff.
Like on YouTube, where everyone's like, if you liked the video, give it a like, and subscribe, because that stuff actually works. So by the way, if you like this video, give it a like, and subscribe, because that will make a difference.
Yeah.
So that's why all the YouTubers are doing it all the time. It can get a little annoying because they do it because it works.
Yeah, because like you're now thinking about liking and subscribing.
Like the video, yeah, cool.
So that's one of those things. Have a call to action. The call to action isn't always to sell something, by the way. It might be, oh, follow me for updates. That's a nice soft call to action.
Sell.
Yeah, it's like, you don't even have to do the pre-save, pre-order thing. It's like, oh, I'm releasing this, make sure you follow me, or join my emailing list, my mail list.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a sell. It could be check out the new song.
Check out the new song. Check out the new video. Like you might release a music video ahead of the album. Oh, check out the music video, and then you go to the music video, and the music video has a call to action to pre-save the album. You know, like there's always, how you do that is up to you, but you do need to have your call to actions. But the call to action is only effective when you've given them some value of some sort, whether that's entertainment, storytelling,
education.
or education value. Yeah, so have a call to action.
And that leads me on to the next point that you were saying was encourage engagement. So it's similar to call to action.
Yeah, I mean, it is a call to action, but it's a bit more creative. Like, for example, you might say, oh, this song reminds me of a time where I was this and this and this. And then you ask the audience, tell me about a time that you experienced this and this and this. And then they dive into the comments, oh yeah, this, blah, 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 blah. And that creates community and creates engagement around your content. And also it probably helps things stay at the top of the feed and all of that stuff. Yeah. You know, oh, like this if you can resonate with this, or tell me about a time that this resonates with you.
Oh, for YouTube anyway, comments make a huge difference for the rank of the video.
Oh, it does for everything. Yeah, Facebook, Instagram. You know, but also like even not just for ranking, just engagement with your audience is important. You know, because it's a deeper transaction than them just consuming the content and go, oh, that was great, scroll. It's more like if they engage with the content, like, oh yeah, and I can tell you my version of that, and then the artist replies to them. That's a deeper relationship. You're getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and that's just going to create an actual fan base as opposed to a follower base, which is actually a huge difference. You know, like you might have, it's one thing having 10,000 followers on Instagram, but how many of them care? You know, because on Instagram, for example, like the follow is one of the first things that they do, but it doesn't necessarily mean they care about you or going to buy your stuff or going to do the action that you call them to do. Yeah. You know? So yeah.
Yeah, it's going to build a lot more rapport with the audience as well. So say, for example, you message Tool and I don't know, who's the singer of Tool?
James Maynard Keenan.
There you go. And imagine he messaged you back personally. You, because I know you love Tool, would be like a kid in the candy store.
I don't know what would happen. I might like explode or something.
Yeah.
If he did that, if he just liked something that I said, I'll be done. I'll be like
Yeah.
fanboying out real hard.
Then you're probably more likely to listen to Tool right after that.
Yeah.
And the last point you're telling me is be creative and stick to the plan.
So let's tackle the second piece of that. Sticking to the plan is really, really important. Once you've devised what the strategy is, and there isn't only one strategy, right? You know, you can be very creative with the strategy. It might be, I'm going to release, a couple of music videos before the album, or one video before and then some of videos after that. There's no wrong strategy. If it makes sense to you, do that strategy. But when you've decided that's the strategy, do stick to it. Because, all strategies work. Like, if you came to me with a strategy and be like, oh, this strategy worked for that guy, I'm like, yeah, I could show you a million people it didn't work for. Because it's not just the strategy that makes it happen, there's also the work inside the strategy that makes it happen,
Stick to the plan, don't get emotional and kind of divert.
Yeah, just
Make
stick
sure
to the
you
plan.
Get it done.
Exactly. I mean,
Have a launch date. I find when I launch any new products or anything like that, I think having a certain date written in stone is good because it forces
Oh,
you
you
to
have
get it
to.
done. Yeah.
You
If
have
you're like,
to.
oh, it's done when it's done, it never gets done.
And that
But
should
if you
be-
have a certain date and you make sure you hit that date.
And that should be in the future.
Yeah.
Like, far in the future. Not tomorrow, but like a month or something,
Yeah, like a realistic date. You're never
Yeah.
going to finish this whole album by tomorrow.
But also,
It's a
like,
realistic date.
in terms of music distribution, there's so much stuff that can happen, so many problems that can happen. Like, there's never a campaign where something doesn't go wrong or something just slows down and you're like, okay, cool, we need to catch up on that. So you need that headroom anyway. But yeah, absolutely do that. And it gives you time to like promote it,
Yeah, in your head you'll be like, I'll be done by 8 p.m. when
No.
you'll be up till 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Some days. Yeah.
Everything takes longer than originally
So
anticipated.
anticipate that might happen, but still put pressure on yourself to get it done, hit that deadline, have a plan.
Yeah, and then the first point of that was like be creative. So, try lots of different things along the way. Stick to the plan. This is coming out that date, that's coming out this way. But like how you promote each event in the whole event, be creative with it. One of my artists the other day, she did like between the music video dropping and then the EP dropping, she just did like, and this was like a random piece of creativity that happened. She just dropped a thank you video after the video.
I think I saw that.
Yeah, the music video went out. And then she did something that was quite cute. She also took snapshots. So she dropped the video, like she did the thank you video. It was really, really nice. And that happened in between the music video drop and the EP drop. And she was telling everyone why she filmed the video and the way that she did and what it meant to her. And then on Instagram, she took like screenshots of different frames of the video where she was pulling different faces and then put that as like a little tiled thing on Instagram. It was the cutest thing.
I always do it with you when we film a video. I find a funny screenshot of you looking a bit weird and send it over just for, like it shows a personal side.
Yeah.
She's not trying to be like this cool like pop star. She's a person. It shows personality and a bit of humour as well in there.
And, that kind of like resonated with her whole sort of like playful thing that's going on. Like it was brilliant. And that brings me on to another point is like, that's also a good example of repurposing content. So she made the thank you video, but the thank you video is actually just like, a series of frames and an audio track, right? So you can always take stuff out of that, maybe take a clip of it and put it as an Instagram post or put it as a series of Instagram stories, watch the whole thank you video in my, link in bio, whatever. It's just promoting it and taking content, because you've made this piece of content now. It's like, cool, let's take pieces of it and pull it, scatter it on different social media platforms.
And,
exactly. So,
I like it because it makes it seem a lot more fun and more of a human side.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
trying to be like the cool, serious person.
Yeah.
People are gonna like that more if you're having fun.
And the whole thing is art. All of this is art, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. Just stick to the plan and be creative. Yeah.
Cool. So on that note, we've got some good points there, Christopher. By the way,
Thank you.
link in the description below, Christopher's YouTube channel, if you want to check out some more stuff from Christopher. If you like this video, give it a like. If you want to subscribe to this channel, you can subscribe as well. And we'll talk to you soon.